What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Everflow podcast. My name is David.
I'm Antonio.
And we are Everflow Sound, and we're doing a little intro for a behind-the-scenes interview that we did with one of our dear friends, Kenny Mazingo, that we shot as we were moving cross-country to LA. And you'll notice that in this episode, we called the We Got Options podcast. That was one of the working titles that we had before we settled on the Everflow podcast. But the time that we spent with Kenny was very special and precious because it came at the end of 2 very long days of driving. We had like 11 and 10-hour days back to back. And we arrived to Kenny. And what was that time like at Kenny for you after going through that?
Oh, man.
And in the middle of this transitional period of our lives?
Well, I was having a lot of deja vus throughout that whole trip. So it was just a very in and out experience, that whole trip. And it was just really special to have that time specifically with Kenny to see his spot. And it was Dallas, Texas, right?
Mm-hmm. We were in Dallas.
See his spot in Dallas and the amazing thunderstorm that happened while we were there.
Yes.
And just deep conversations and really insightful, and to hear about his story on all the transitional moments that he's gone through in his entire life. So super excited for you all to check out this episode with our dear friend Kenny. See you on the inside. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the We Got Options podcast, episode 1. Woo! Amazing.
On the road.
Yes, on the road. I am Antonio.
My name is David Poso.
I am Kenny Mazingo.
Kenny Mazingo, our distinguished and honored guest, and more so, we are his guest because right now we're in Dallas, Texas, and he is allowing us to stay with him as we travel cross country to LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is a really cool opportunity. Tones and I had spoken about, hey, we have this idea for a podcast. How cool would it be if on the way to LA, we feature Kenny as the first guest?
No pressure.
And we told him last night over dinner, and he was like, what? He's like, I'm down, sign me up. I'm like,
yes,
Kenny Mazingo. So it's a beautiful opportunity for all of us to come together and talk about and share about 3 concepts that we like to focus on here at the podcast: mindset, music, and life lessons. And Kenny's a great person to speak with because he's had so much life experience in such a short amount of time.
Thank you.
I'll let you tell your story officially, and you can tell us your story because Antonio met him for the first time last night, and I've had the privilege of knowing you for a few years. Mm-hmm. But this is a big moment of transition for Antonio and I personally. And Kenny has been through a few moments of transition in his life. And we just want to reflect on the things that have brought us to this moment, things to look forward to, ways to manage it, ways to just flow with it,
Yeah.
Just what comes up when you take that leap of faith.
That's right.
That's
right.
What you process before you take that leap, what happens while you're taking that leap, and then what happens after. And we were talking yesterday about like the why, like having that strong why behind it all.
Yes.
We would definitely love to know. I was saying, we were saying yesterday that like we wish we had the microphone just up when we walked through the door.
Right from the door.
There's so much valuable information, but it's very special to just have that organically, and want to continue that organically here. But would again love to hear just about in your life what you've learned through some of the transitions that you've gone through.
Yeah. So tell us about Africa, and tell us about the move from Africa to here and what that was like, and
absolutely,
and anything that comes to mind.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm just so delighted to have 2 amazing human beings in our home. Tony, David, welcome to Texas. Welcome to Dallas.
Everything's big in Texas.
It's number one is inspiring to be a part of this journey that you guys are doing from Florida to California. It's inspiring because it speaks about your why, what are you guys trying to do. And number 2, my wife and I just delighted that we can serve you. So welcome to Dallas. We're happy to be here. We've been in Dallas for almost 2 years, but before that, I'll just go backwards, like why we're here and where everything started. I'm originally from Angola, Africa, born and raised in Angola, Africa. Angola, if you look in the continent of Africa, it's just, in the bottom close to South Africa. It's a tiny little country, about 18 states, third world country. Grew up and raised there. My parents, my dad didn't go to college until my dad never went to college. My mom was able to graduate college in accounting, when she was, I think 31 years old. She was pregnant with my 3rd brother. So by growing up in Angola is very different than, growing up in the U.S. My parents always had the idea of the American dream. You know, Angola was in civil war for more than 30 years. So my dad really, like like any other parent, like you want give the best to your kids. You know, whether that's education, whether that's a better life, whether the list goes on and on. And then I remember when I was in high school, I was 16 years old or 15 years old in 2010. My dad sat with me in the kitchen and says, well, what you want to do for your life? Number one, I'm a 16-year-old, I have no idea. But I really took this serious because, my parents worked extremely hard to create a life for themselves and a life for ourselves, extremely hard. It's not common for Angolans coming to the U.S. for school. It's not something that I take lightly. It's a gift. It's a privilege. And my dad was giving me that privilege to choose what I want to do, where I want to go to college. And I ended up choosing UCF in Orlando. The reason why I chose UCF is because growing up I was a swimmer. I didn't know anything better. Yeah, I was a swimmer. That's why I kept fit, as you can see. But I literally went to Google, look for schools, schools in Florida. And then I saw different schools, and I was familiar with Orlando because in previous years we'd come, to go to Disney. But then the reason why I chose UCF was because of the swimming pool. I Googled, I saw, wow, this is a beautiful swimming pool. Being a swimmer, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. I told my dad, I find the school is perfect. I want to go. I thought he would say no. Who makes a decision? To go across the Atlantic based in a swimming pool. No one.
A 16-year-old.
But my dad says, yeah, you go. And I was like, you serious? Yeah, start, go to school, find what you need. So what I love from the beginning, my father gave me the sense of ownership of my life. I was 16-year-old, but I said, Kenny, call the school, get the paperwork, tell me what we need to get you in Orlando. I'm like, of course I was freaking out. Up to that point, everything was given to me. Education, school, I didn't have to work. I didn't have to, call certain people because my parents did it for me. But then that year, my dad's like, go to school, and all these conversations in English. We speak Portuguese in Angola. Here's this guy, this Angolan guy, document, paper, I'm trying to communicate with the school, the English school in America, just, making sure I have everything. So very overwhelming process. But the grace, was able to get the documents, got my visa, and I landed in America in 2012, February 2012. Came with my dad, mixed feelings of emotions. Excitement, fear, what am I doing here? I realized when I came with my dad, that was to stay. That's a let go.
Wow.
I remember dating a girl in high school that I thought would marry. I remember crying. I'm like, I'm not gonna see this girl again. My mom didn't come on purpose because she was afraid that, that's my son. She might,
she might try to bring you back.
Yeah. So my dad, they had a talk. My dad's like, I don't think it's good for you to go. Wow. So I just came with my dad, and that was just a 1-week trip. Just basically find a school, find a place to live in, and then my dad's like, yeah, grown up. I remember exactly that day, David and Tones, and we got in Orlando, went to a hotel close to UCF. I was happy, but I was freaking out. I was afraid.
You were about to get dropped off.
Yeah, exactly. No family, no friends, nobody. Only me and my faith. And my dad's one of those guys that is emotional but doesn't like to show his emotions. So I remember we got to my dorm room in apartment, first time I'm seeing this building ever. I have only seen pictures. I never toured the place. I don't know who my roommate is. Talk about let go. Talk about let go, right? And we got there. My dad's like, how are you gonna transport yourself? I thought you might give him a car or whatever. Took me to Walmart, got myself a bike.
Dad, where are the keys? There you go.
He bought me a bike, and then all this with the taxi driver's waiting. And then I remember, just to give me chills. He gave me an envelope with some cash on it. He looked me in the eye. He said, Kenny, from now on you're a man. You do well. Gave me a hug, literally 1 minute hug. Got in the cab and left. I haven't seen my dad. I'm telling you, he got in the cab and left, and I'm like, oh, what?
Wow.
He left. There's no.
Yeah.
Man. Then I went to my room. Very, just sad, filled with emotions. Cried a lot because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to start. And then my mom taught me something that, when you're going through moments of despair, fear, and anxiety, always pray. That's all I need. That's all I had. I had prayer. I had faith, and prayed and found some strength. Got on my bike and biked around. That was in 2012, and the first 2 years of my move, the first 2 years of me letting go of what was comfort to me, of what I knew, Angola, my culture, my food, my sports, my friends, the first friends, letting that go, like that really, being in that dorm room for the first time, there was a time I'm like, man, like there's no going back. Like this girl, as much as I want to cling to, as much as I want to believe that I'm gonna marry her, I have to be realistic to me. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, I have to, own to this. The first 2 years were very hard. Hard in the sense of I had to, number one, know my why, know who I am, why I'm here, why my parents believe that I will do well here. Number two, I have to find friends that will elevate me, right? Friends like David Poston that believe in me, that see things in me that I don't see for myself. There's a different reality being there, and being American. Number three, I had to learn English. It's not like I speak English. Like I had to learn English and being confident, with my English. My English was horrible.
Wow.
Horrible, my first year was just literally, I was a full-time English student, just learning the language. Because if you don't speak English well, you won't get into college. But I also learned a lot in the first 2 years of me being here. I got to understand my why. And my why changes over time. The why that I had there in the first 2 years was simply to know why I'm here. And the reason why I'm here is to make my parents proud in a different way, which is, be a good citizen, not make dumb decisions, end up in jail. And number three, just graduate college. I just want to graduate college. I like my parents was, born into cash, So I'm like, the least I can do to honor this favor, just graduate. Now, I would be very guilty if my parents, putting thousands of dollars in it. Like I would have, I'm like, man, I feel my parents. Not that they care, but like that was my goal back then. I just need to graduate college. But then the first 2 years, I also got to realize, wow, like this is America. Like I'm the United States of America. Like I'm a guy that was born and raised in a third world country. I'm in America. Like it's up. My dad always tells me, it's up to you. This is a land of opportunities. I'm like, I've heard that before. No. When you are in it, as you guys are gonna go to, where you guys are gonna go. But when you get there, when you see, when you stop, you look around, it's like, fudge, I'm in America. Like it pinches me. And I got to the opportunities. I got to learn a lot. I got to really evaluate my worth, and who I am. Because before that, I used to think that my worth was in my degree or what I wear or, the type of bike that I have, because when you want to fit in. Yeah, I wanted to fit in America. Like I didn't know about the American culture. I want girls to like me. So, I was, basing my worth on, how I speak or the type of friends I hang out with or, what I wear. And then it got to a point I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. Like I know who I am. I'm Kenny Mazingo from Africa, and there is something unique about me. And like I'm not trying to fit in. Like I'm gonna give my best. And it definitely helped with a good group of friends, a good community of people, and also just knowing my why. And then over the years, just being committed, being faithful to who I am and what I'm here for, and it played tremendously. Ended up graduating college. I realized like, no offense to college. College is not really important for what I want to do. And it's a good paper, but and then I found the love of my wife, the love of my life, and really got to be exposed to what's possible in this country. Got to be exposed for what we can do in this country. And my parents, they're proud. They're ecstatic. This 16-year-old that we don't know how he's gonna do. We don't even know if he's gonna graduate college, right? And just being able to see the gifts and the graces and the blessings and the miracles that have been given to me. I never thought I would be able to graduate college. In high school, I was crazy. I never studied in high school. I never thought I would be able to one day get married. In high school, I was crazy. I never thought that we were responsible with money because money was given to me. Here I am, taking care of my finances that my parents were giving monthly, budgeting, creating forecasts, structuring, and analysis. I'm like, I'm becoming a man by realizing who I am. And I tell people all the time, you never know who you are until you let go. Because sometimes when I realized I was in control of my own life, in control to a certain level where you have to be in control, like you have to make decisions for yourself, but you also, I realized like I also needed to know like there's so many things I'm not in control of, and that's okay. Like that's okay to let go. That's okay to not know, what tomorrow holds. That's okay to, being comfortable in a comfortable situation. And then, fast forward, graduate college, met my wife, and then recently moved to the place where, people say is the greatest country of all time, Texas. Yeah, people here are proud. So it's a real thing, man. I'm like,
we saw the biggest flag I've ever seen on the way here.
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah. So I'm, being Texas, one of my greatest fears is, stop moving. Not moving too fast that you stop to really see where you are and how blessed you are, but just stop moving, just being complacent. And there's so much beauty, there's so much growth when you move, whether it's personally, physically, intellectually, you gotta always be able to move. Because, I like to think about that the world is moving so fast that the least I can do is to adapt. We chose Texas because it's a place that we can adapt and grow and prosper. But also intellectually, like I'm always in the move. Because if you're not moving, the world will move you, and if the world move you, you might go places that you don't want to go, or a place that you weren't supposed to be. So that's just a little bit of my story, and it's been amazing. See how far we have come and how far we're going, because it really helps having friends like you guys that really open gates to you. Like, I don't think this is possible. I don't think I could be in front of a camera. Like, oh, you can? Like, really? So that's just being very, very blessed, very blessed. And then we'll see what's in store.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what
It's
would
crazy.
you say your why is now?
Absolutely. Having 2 kids, being married, going to my 4th year of marriage, there's a shift in mindset, there's a shift in goal. My first 2 years was graduate college and make a lot of money for myself. My why now is to create an environment where my family can prosper unconditionally, financially. They can prosper without boundary. And that comes in a combination of me and my wife coming together, doing what we're passionate about in our different industries. I'm passionate about business, I'm passionate about this area. My wife is passionate about whatever she wants to do. I want to make sure that we create an environment where my generation and our next generation of kids, they can grow, become who they want to be without having to worry about money. Coming from Angola, having food on the table is not something that I never take lightly. Having a car is something I never take lightly. Those are blessings that I want to make sure that our kids always have. So my why is to always create an environment where we can prosper without having to worry about anything. Just, there's an idea, you want to go to school in UK, for example. Okay, let's make that happen. And of course, that comes with a lot of work, right? That comes with a lot of sacrifice and the commitment. So I'm always going above and beyond for my family, because if my family's happy, I'm also happy. I don't want to make the mistake of focus on my personal dream that I neglect my family. If I'm being true to myself, if I'm following the desires of my heart, my dreams will align with my family dreams. That's why communication is important. I'm always asking my wife, what do you want to do? My wife knew before we got married what I'm achieving in this life. She has no surprise that one day I'll be the CEO. She has no surprise that one day there might be a jet. There's no surprises whatsoever. So she understands that sometimes, okay, Kenny might be traveling for 2 weeks. So, and then she's been a tremendous partner in, we building this why together. What can we do to create an environment that we can prosper together, financially, socially, without boundaries? Because, as a believer, as Christians, God is generous. God has no limitations. I put limits. Oh, well, I can only do this today, but God's like, if you really believe, there's no limits. So just having that eyes of faith, and picking up the shovel and do the work, so we can have that environment where we can prosper tremendously as a family. And also for me, I want to be able to have an enterprise where I can allow other immigrants also to prosper. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
You're saying so many good things, man. It's so good to hear you sharing this from the ground up, man. One of my favorite things that you've ever taught me is regarding vision, and how without vision,
Yes.
we're lost, and you have to have this clarity of your intention.
That's right.
and clarity of the direction that you're moving in.
That's right.
Or else, you know, if you, what is the saying? If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, and it seems like you had to develop that ability to get clear on your vision ever since you were like that 17-year-old here
right.
dropped off. And can you share with us what you've learned over the years about vision and about how important it is? And what you used to tell me, like, hold on to the vision.
Yes.
Like, what have you learned about vision and how does it play a role in life and in the world that we're creating for ourselves and for our families?
Absolutely. Great question. Great question. Vision. You know, I didn't know my vision when I first came to this country because, you know, growing up, I thought my vision was what my parents told me, right? You know, the world has a vision for all of us. Our friends, our parents, they have vision. Thomas, man, I can see you doing this. David, I can see you doing this. Great, thank you. But is that really what I'm supposed to do, though?
Right.
And over the years, I have learned through a lot of prayer and discernment and a lot of conversations that the vision comes from within. You know, by being exposed to different things, seeing different things, meeting different people, that comes from within. It's okay to have people telling you, Tom's like, you could have, you know, your own show on TV. Yeah, but is that really what Tom's meant to do, right? Like, David, man, like, you'd be a great accountant. You're good with numbers, man. Really? Like, you might be good with money, but is that, you know, so I have really being able to develop my vision for me, Kenny, created for Kenny. And I'm a huge believer that the desires that we have in our heart, that comes from within, that's our why. God put that, you know, that's there for a reason. That's not, you know, just, you know, something temporary, but it's there for a reason. And my vision came from within my heart. You know, as an immigrant, as someone with great potential, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm meant to achieve. You know, someone comes to me, Kenny, well, many people came to me before, you should be a priest. Like, like, woo-wee. I was like,
You would have been a great priest.
yeah. But I'm like, at the same time, like, this is not what God wants from me.
Right.
So being true to that vision, holding my heart and really, and you know, sharing that vision with other people that you trust, not just everybody. Like there are a lot of people that so negative. They don't have the capacity to understand what's in your heart. They're just immediately they're gonna, you know, shut you down. But, you know, really listen to my heart and doing a lot of journaling and being committed to that vision because, you know, that vision is not always clear. You know, sometimes comes in bits, sometimes comes in chapters, sometimes comes, you know, none of us in the world like has a clear vision how we envision ourselves. It comes in parts because we're always changing. I'm always changing. Like, you know, what I wanted to do 10 years ago is not the same thing I want to do today. But the essence of that vision is the same. Create an environment, create a world where people can prosper, regardless of your background, regardless if you're in school or not, and just being true to that self. And how I want to achieve that is through my gifts in business. People do to music, people do to dancing, people do to preaching. All of us have different talents, and my talent, one of them is, you know, being able to create an environment, bring different people together, bounce ideas, and create something amazing. And being true to that within the business world. So I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it gets challenging to hold onto that vision because life happens, marriage, kids, you know, the COVID, you know, pandemic rates. You know, it's not always, you know, pitch clear. But nonetheless, it has been proven to me that if you're faithful to that vision, and that vision is what's my heart, what's not our hearts, you hold into it. Like you hold into it, like it's yours. Not your parents, not your producer, like it's your vision. You hold into it. It will always lead you to the right path. Maybe not when you want to get there, maybe not how you want to get there.
Or how you expect to get there.
Exactly. I have always learned that the how is not up to us, up to God, but the why is up to us. And you know, just being faithful to that vision is always, you know, being promising to me, you know, like never disappointed. I got disappointed when I always wanted to please people. I got disappointed when people told me, like, dude, you should try this. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm doing this to please you. Like, I don't want to do this. But all the time that I have been true to myself, I've been true to my vision and really holding to that vision. It's been hard because, you know, you have to go against what people that you love and people that love you, you know, having difficult conversations like, Dad, like, I hear you, but I'm not an engineer. I know this is a great career path. I know, but I can't imagine. I don't see myself waking up every day as an engineer. I see myself walking into my building, giving people paychecks. This is where I see myself. It wasn't hard. It wasn't easy having that conversation, but this is what I want to do. And holding to that vision and nurturing that vision, very important. Prayer, discernment, having a great group of friends that you come together, you hold each other accountable, like the two of you guys doing this together. It's always so important because when I was going through that vision alone, there were many times I'm like, dude, this is not gonna work. Oh man, I need to go back to Angola. I don't want to be here. Like it's, all those. Sometimes even realistic thoughts, they come to mind. Sometimes they can, scare you out. But that doesn't mean that, what I have in my heart is not possible. Sometimes it means that I just need, to clear my mind, start over again, which is okay, and then hold it to my vision. But knowing that vision that is within, it's so important. In our time, the age that we live in, it's kind of almost sad because, we have friends just living through life, just waking up every day, the same routine. Like, you ask them, like, do you love what you do? Pay the bills. Yeah, but you could be doing something else. Like, it's almost like we are like walking zombies, just going, no purpose, no vision. Like, what are you trying to achieve? I don't know. Bro, life is so precious. Just the gift of life is precious. Just being able to wake up one day and breathe, that's precious. So why not make that count? Like, one of my prayers every day is like when I go out to work, like, God, like, thank you for bringing me home safely and alive. I could be involved in a car accident. I could, die. Like, so many things could go wrong. But the fact that we can wake up, live life normally, come home. Dude, God is telling us something, bro. Like, you have a precious gift. I have a plan for you. Like, don't waste it. Because I don't think many people wake up every day and like, I think I'm gonna die today. No, like none of us know. And it really struck me when Kobe passed away, like he just said goodbye to his wife like a normal day, never came home. How many people go through life thinking that they're gonna come home, never come home, right? So just really appreciating the gift of life, being grateful for the gift of life that sometimes I take for granted, and making the most of it, holding to my vision, every day waking up with a purpose to make people's lives better, to be a better person, also to achieve my goals. It's important, not what other people want though, but what's important to me. I got people in my office telling me, oh, you should do this. I'm like, I'm flattered, but no. And that's something also that I'm so proud of myself, being courageous and speaking up and saying no, because I wasn't like this. 2 years, people told me like, you should do this. Yes, sir. Now, like, I'm like, no, like life is precious. Life is short. I'm not gonna, just sit here and, abide to your command if I honestly think it's not true. If I honestly think it's not one of it, like, I don't want to be a pilot. Don't tell me to be a pilot. Or if it doesn't work here, go somewhere else. So just having that boldness, because when you have your vision, you're bold. Like you can easily, cut people. Like you can easily shut up people. Like, no, not gonna work for me. Oh, nah, I appreciate it, but not. Because sometimes, if we don't know what we want or our vision, we say yes to almost a thing. Bro, come here. Yeah, I'll be there at 20. But if you know your vision, like, no.
Yeah.
I've been blessed to be around a lot of successful people that have a lot of money. They're very good at saying no. Like, they might have the time to meet with you, not today. Because, they got something else. Like, they're good at saying no. I'm like, that's a virtue, right? Saying no, because being honest to yourself. I really want to see you, but not today. Can we reschedule?
They're clear on their priorities.
Yeah. So that has been tremendously, because I know my vision. I know what I want to achieve. And at the same time, being open, to different opportunities, not just being so closed down, being open.
Not just like a no machine, but also taking the discernment into it.
Exactly.
And saying there are some things that need to be said yes to.
Exactly.
Also with, sometimes, again, like with faith, there's different signs. So
yes.
It's like, is this a sign? Do I need to be doing this?
Yes.
Like, I know that David and I have always enjoyed our kind of early morning breakfast conversations that are very similar to this. And I personally have had a few people be like, man, you have like a voice that I would just love to hear like on a podcast or anything. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, but I want to do music.
Yes.
But then I've heard it so many times that I now question, like, is this a sign from God? Because I know that can show up as a confirmation.
Yes.
If them saying it again lights up something in me, like, ooh, yeah, maybe. might be a sign versus like, nope, the fire is still dull.
Yes.
Thank you. So, but I feel like that's kind of an interesting thing to find balance
Absolutely.
in. Is that difference between like, that's definitely not for me, but thank you so much for that. It's good to know. Versus actually, I might consider that. Thank you for bringing that to the table, because I was so focused here that I didn't realize the road was actually this wide. I thought it was this narrow. So I feel like it's an interesting balance to figure out.
That's a great point.
Figure out all that.
Yes, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's so great to hear the depths of your story, because again, this is day 2 of meeting you. So I'm learning all this firsthand for the first time. And
absolutely.
It almost brings tears to my eyes, and just imagining that transition of like saying goodbye to your father and like him being in the taxi and whoosh,
man,
just leaving. Just also because of the moments that I've been in transition.
Correct.
And David and I talk about this. We heard about this. I at least heard about it first through Brene Brown. Is there's many times where people may criticize other people that are making particular choices that they actually would never have. They have not tapped into their own bravery to make that choice themselves. And we're the people that are doing it. We're the people that are in the arena.
Yes.
And it's different. Life's just different when you actually take the leap, and whatever leap it is, to be in the arena, to make a transition, to actually apply for that job.
Correct.
To work your relationship to a deeper level, to step into marriage, to say no to something that...
To take a leap of faith.
Yes, yes.
And it just means something. And I feel like God also aligns you with other people that are also making leaps, that are also doing that. Because it's easy to question. Maybe it's not always harsh criticism, but to question out of your own fear of something someone
100%.
else is doing. And I feel like I have learned, even in this transition of moving from Orlando to LA, is people who have the best intentions, that truly care about your well-being, will say like, do you have a job lined up?
Yes,
do you have this set up?
Do you have a plan B?
Do you have an extra lock for the U-Haul? And I'm glad they're asking that, because like, actually, for like the first question about the lock for the U-Haul, I was like, actually, no, we need to make sure we get that. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that to the table. But then there's other things. It's like figuring out that balance of how much to let people into what's going on, because even though they care, do I need their influence on this transition because of the people pleasing, making sure that I stay pure to what God is calling me to, and balancing that element of like revealing this awesome transition that's happening, but maybe not opening my heart too much, where it might feel a little vulnerable in this transition, and someone else's fear may go in and change the course unknowingly, because I unknowingly opened up my heart, something I wasn't ready to be open to. So I feel like that's where like knowing oneself, knowing the why, knowing the purpose, allows for that sense of openness. It's not a guarded gate, but it's a sense of openness, but also openness moving forward, knowing what your path truly is. So you know how to manage conversations and other people's fears. In some type of way to continue moving with purpose. To know how to allow God to sift through the filters. Also that way, kind of like what I was saying yesterday, of like putting in 100% of the work as if it's 100% up to you, praying to God as if it's 100% up to God. Because nothing's going to happen if you don't show up.
That is true.
And a lot of that protection and filtering and all that extra, almost like spiritual work, yes, you can do a lot of that, but you'll also get tremendously exhausted. And
that is
it's
true.
ultimately not up to you. So being able to find that balance of, okay, what do I got to do today? What can I let go of today? And just allow life to work it through. And even like with moving, like, okay, I have this massive stack of papers right now, and we're moving in 4 hours. Do I need to go through this right now, or just put it in a bag, put it in the truck, and figure it out later? And being able to figure out that difference, it was interesting with the move. I'm gonna deal with it later. Deal with it in LA.
Wow.
I love it. I'm so honored to be in you guys' presence. This is so much fun. I don't know how much time we have left, but let's see.
We have 8 minutes.
We got 8 minutes.
Already?
I know, time flies when you're having a blast. So one of my favorite things about Kenny is this energy that he's always had. He's radiant, you vibrate, you have this like intention and purpose, and I think it's God's gift to you. And I think one of my
desires has always been to give you a platform for you to be able to share your heart, your energy, your ideas, your thoughts, perspectives, and you're so good at it. You flow so effortlessly. We don't need to do anything, man. We just press play and we're taking notes.
Tell us.
And I wish I had a little notepad to take notes.
No, I'm learning tremendously. You guys, I was telling my wife, just last night I went to bed. It's like, they give me energy, love. Like there's certain people in life that you come across, they make you better, and the opposite is true. Like certain people you're around, you're like, man, like I don't think we're good to each other. Like, I think we need some distance. But David, Tom's, your presence in our house light up the whole room. It brings a breath of fresh air. For me, it opens my eyes to different horizons. Our kids can talk, but there's something so special when there's a positive energy and a positive spirit in the room. And you guys brought the rain, first of all, to Texas.
We brought the rain. They haven't had rain in months.
Since April, right?
Yeah. So,
That's crazy.
that's a motivation to me as well, being a part of this journey from Florida to California. And I'm moved by your courage, by your teamwork coming together. Because really, it takes a special team, right? Your teamwork and just the ability to be open for greatness, to be open to the unknown together. There's a certain element of just great courage, like great fortitude to do what you guys are doing. Just letting go, like let go what you know. In a place that has been home for you, Dave, for a long time. So it's a place been home for 8 years, and just like packing up your stuff. What matters goes in, what doesn't stays behind. Physically, emotionally, intellectually, and literally, go across the country into the unknown that is promising. For me, it's like, that's what life is about. That's what Jesus did. He left what he knew, his parents, he went into places where he could be killed, but he went so that we might have life with abundance. So what you guys are doing is just amazing, and the fact that you guys chose to stop here in this household, it's not an accident. There's a seed that's being planted in our hearts, and I'm just so blessed that you guys chose to stop here and plant that seed here. So I can't wait to see where this tree is gonna grow and become. So
thank you.
Yes, I'm amazed.
So we actually have a little bit more time because there's a little buffer. So this is my final question, and then we can kind of go around this and close on it, because you just brought it up. It's not an accident. This concept of that I feel is very true, that God puts us where we need to be.
Yes.
God brings us to the people that we need to interact with and to bring into our lives, and trusting that, as opposed, the babies are awake now. Oh, it's beautiful. We might have to feature them in the podcast. They have But the concept of that, I just want to talk about it with you guys, trusting the direction that God brings you into. For example, Tones and I were supposed to leave a day before we actually did leave, right?
Yes.
But the fact that we left a day later, it's not an accident.
Right.
Everything is unfolded in this beautiful way, and will continue to unfold because of this string of circumstances and situations that happen in our lives that bring us to a certain point,
Correct.
And even when we first met, it's not an accident. Us being able to stay in touch over the last 10 years is not an accident, right? So let's talk about that as a team. Let's explore what that concept means and close with it, because I think it's a big part of faith too, walking in faith.
Yeah.
It's knowing that even if something kind of goes not according to plan, it can still be a blessing.
Yes.
Even if it doesn't come the way you wanted it packaged.
Yes.
You can still open it up and find the blessing within, right?
Yes.
And I feel like that's a beautiful little tool to carry inside of your mind and inside of your heart, to help you process and integrate change and transitions, to help you let go of things and have faith in what's coming next. Because, that stoplight could very well be saving you from this crazy accident up ahead.
That is true.
You left your keys and you had to search for them an extra 16 minutes. Years ago, my best friend Lewis and I, we had an accident where it was we were hit by a drunk driver, and it was life-changing.
Wow.
And after the aftermath, I just had a chance to reflect, and it was the first time it really hit me, wow, the things that happen, in the way that they happen, in the very precise way that they happen, can literally save your life.
Yes.
Or, you know, like I felt this like realization of, man, God really looks out for us. Like that night before we left the studio, Lewis left something inside and had to go back inside and get it.
Okay.
I took a different route than I usually take when going to where we were going. We were going to Steak and Shake for our little after session snack. And the exit that we take, instead of taking it at 45 miles an hour the way I usually do, I took it at 30, which basically in that moment when we were passing the intersection, the car hit the engine compartment up front as opposed to hitting the passenger area where I was driving.
Cool.
And it would have been a full-on impact to me. So like it gives me chills thinking about it, but that's part of the part of this belief that I've had thanks to that accident and now just stacking proof on it from life experience that everything happens for a reason.
That's right.
And
That's right.
even the bad things,
That's right.
It's a daring thing to say, but I do feel it. Even the bad things have a silver lining.
That's
you know?
right. That's right.
And the great things are just blessings from God that are keeping us on our track, on our path.
That's
you know?
right.
And that's why it's so powerful to stay connected to the vision, because it's twofold. God does his part, but we have to do ours, right?
That's right.
And that's the lesson that I've learned in the last few years is like, if you don't have your sails set, you'll kind of go adrift. You won't really go in any particular direction. And God's like waiting for you to be like, stretch those sails out.
Yes.
Put them out there.
Yes.
You know, I'm ready to take you to the next destination. Sometimes fear, sometimes uncertainty, doubt, life
Correct.
experiences, disappointment
Correct.
can hold you back from
Absolutely.
setting your sails. But I think it's just a beautiful opportunity that God gives us. Teamwork, you know?
Yes.
Like God's gonna do his part, we get to do ours, and then to trust that the journey may not look
Yes.
like what we expect it to.
Yes.
But it will bring us ultimately where we are destined to be.
Yes, yes.
You know?
I love there's a saying that, you know, I don't know if it's in the Bible, but it says like all roads lead to Emmaus, right? No such thing as mistakes or accidents. Like every road is a blessed road. Some roads might take you longer, right? My sprinklers, I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good. This is great.
But all roads will be blessed roads. You know, some roads will be bumpy, some roads will be, you know, hilly, but God's in there. God's in every road. But I'm a huge believer that no such thing as an accident, no such thing as a mistake, no such thing as I'm meant to be here. Yeah, you're meant to be here. Like this is meant to happen for a reason. Like to your point, David, just gotta trust. But that trust is hard though, you know, because there's that temptation of, you know, trusting, you know, other people or trusting myself or even trusting my fears or, you know, that trust component, it's so hard for me that I feel like, sometimes I feel like I don't know if I really trust, you know, like I'm learning to define, believe and trust. I believe I'm made for greatness. I believe that, you know, I'm not an orphan kid. I believe that, you know, like, there's amazing, great things beyond my capacity to think, imagine, and plan and journal ahead of me, because that's who he is. That's who he is. He's generous. He's abundant. The trust component is like, yeah, I believe that, but in my daily life, why am I making decisions based on fear, or why I'm being safe? Like, it tells me that I don't trust fully. I need to let go of that, you know, like that comfort and really trust 100%. Really go into the deep. You know, it reminds me, there's this part in the Bible where, you know, Peter and John, they were in the boat, they were in the ocean, not in the ocean, in the ocean. You know, they were fishing for hours. And then, you know, Jesus approaches them and says like, if you caught anything? They're like, no, like we've been here for many hours, we can catch anything. And then, you know, Jesus got in the boat where they were, you know, with their nets and then started preaching. I love it, just preaching, because Jesus was telling those guys, like, you guys are focused on, you know, on what's not important. You know, instead of, he could easily tell them like what to do. He could easily, you know, help them fish. But he's like, okay, got in the boat, started preaching. And then after he preached, he said, Peter and John, you know, go into the deep, you know, throw your net to the right side and go into the deep. They went into the deep. They caught so much fish that they were like, we are sinking, you know, and
Too blessed. Hold up.
yeah. And then for me, I'm like, man, like, I need to go into the deep with my trust. I know there's fish here. Like, I know this is a world of abundance. I know this is a life, you know, worth living. I need to go into the deep. Like, I need to I need to really not being afraid just fish on the shoreline, but really go into the deep. That trust, like that pure trust that yes, I know there's something there, but I have to trust that, something will come out of it. Yeah, the trust component is something I'm always working on, because I can be sometimes like Peter, like just like, man, I'm doing everything I can, nothing's happening, like I'm going above and beyond, and sometimes just like, dude, just trust the process. Like there's something in there, like the fishes are there. Maybe sometimes you have to, let someone come in, a friend, come into your house, and they give you the fish.
Well, speaking of trust, I trust that we'll have you on the podcast again. Yes. We'll have to cut it off for today, unfortunately, because we have about 3 minutes till it's done.
To cut it off, let's do it. A final message. What's the final message you have for the world?
For me,
yes, brother. It's a beautiful opportunity.
It's a pressure, man.
No pressure.
No pressure, but pressure. Just being inspired by your presence, being inspired by your journey. The message that I have to my friends and to everyone, just like, don't be afraid to move. Just move to the right direction. Don't be afraid to move. If you're feeling like you're in a place of, stuck or, there's no growth, move. It's in the moving that you get to see your true worth. Don't be afraid to move, whether it's physically, intellectually, emotionally, move, right? Like, and then I'll let you decide what that move is for you, but don't be afraid to move like Tones and David. Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you too. Time for breakfast.
Yes,
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. This has been Kenny Mazingo, Antonio Fernandez, David Pozo. We got options.
We got options. This is amazing. You guys are pros, man. I think LA will do you guys well.
Oh, dude. Man.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Everflow podcast.
If you'd like to learn more, you can visit us at everflowsound.com.
And if you want to follow us on social media, we got a couple links for you below in the description.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.